Happy Saturday, folks. How's it going? So it's the mediocre cover band guitar guy again. Yay! Anyway, last few weeks we've been talking about booking gigs, knowing your role, lugging gear in and out of the club. Last week I did sound checking, and this week I'm going to talk about your stage. I don't know, I guess stage banter versus how you act on stage. And this is kind of important because you want to engage with the people that are there watching you, whether it's a private event or you're doing a club. No matter what type of club it is, no matter if it's just 3 people, 300 people, you kind of want to engage everybody and make them feel like they're a part of what you're doing. And there are some do's and don'ts. And one of the biggest things for me is cursing on stage. And I find it hard because I curse a lot. So when I'm on stage and I'm lost in a moment there and I'm saying something, I have to be very conscious of not dropping F-bombs. And if you're trying to book your band into like more professional, private settings like corporate events, weddings, and anything that pays really well, and it's kind of fancy, you don't want somebody in your bar or at your gig going away going, well, that guy curses a lot, because once again, and I always refer to it, Nan doesn't want to go to your wedding and hear somebody up on the stage swearing all night. So try not to curse. Another thing about being up there is don't get friggin' drunk on stage, because that's a rough one, because then you're saying stuff that you shouldn't be saying, and it might get taken offensively. It also affects your playing. I've seen some guys forget lyrics. I've heard stories about guys having to leave stage to go throw up. That's rough. So you know, getting drunk is something. It's not professional. I'm not your father or your mother or whatever trying to tell you can't do that, this or that. But these are just little, once again, tidbits of stuff that I wish I knew back in the day when I started out. You want to engage everybody that's there. So things that you can say on stage, if somebody comes up and it's their friend's birthday, not everybody gets to the club at the same time, and it gets a bit rough when you got a lot of birthdays going on. But you don't have to sing happy birthday every time, but you can acknowledge the person's birthday, you mention their name, wish them a happy birthday, and dedicate a song to them, or take a request because you might know it, and just make them feel like it's their night, because it is, and they want to feel it, and if they have more fun, they'll come back and see you. So just acknowledge that. If you're in a bar, for instance, acknowledge the staff, acknowledge the people, acknowledge drink specials. If they've got a no glass on the dance floor policy, mention that a couple times, because you don't want somebody slipping and falling and shutting the night down early on you. That can cause trouble. Bar specials are important. Go up and get a list of bar specials and mention it throughout the night. That helps the bar sell drinks and keeps everybody happy. If you know the bar staff's name, mention them, send out a song to them, because they all got favorite songs too, and they're working hard. Remind people to tip the bar staff, and if you're in an all-male band and you're looking at the female bar staff and you're saying things like, remember to tip your staff, because you know what, we got 4 tips up here for you. No, don't do it. It's cheesy. And one of those female bar staffs probably got a boyfriend who will beat the shit out of you later on out in the parking lot, and I don't imagine that'd be much fun, and you'd look pretty stupid getting the shit kicked out of you in the parking lot after a gig, or getting the shit kicked out of you anywhere for that matter, I guess. So try to be respectful. If something shits the bed, a piece of equipment, something's wrong with your amp, something's wrong with the guitar, you break a string, try not to announce to the whole world that you've got technical difficulties, because you don't really want to shift blame, and people don't realize that those things happen because they don't do it. They're not playing in bands, they're not subjected to the bad luck that we sometimes get. You might have a wonky monitor, the PA might be having issues, drum mics might have something going on there, feedback coming from a monitor. Just tell the crowd you're dealing with something, and if you're controlling the music that gets played between the sets, because you don't have a sound person there, Put something on to keep people on the floor till the situation is rectified, or get somebody from the venue to put up some house music, because you don't want dead air. That kills everything. And it could end up having people leave in the middle of your gig, and that would suck, because this day and age it's hard to get gigs, especially for bands. The acoustic guys, and I'm not knocking anybody. Right now, they're the ones that they're back to work now, because of, of restrictions and stuff. So for us, it's harder, and we got to behave. So don't put blame on anybody. If you're gonna put blame on anybody, try to get the guy who keeps requesting Jerry Rafferty songs all night. Try to make it his fault. If a fight breaks out in the club, you definitely, they say keep playing, but I read an article on this a couple years ago, and they actually suggest that if the band stops playing or you turn off the house music, it actually shifts focus from the people that are fighting, because if they're fighting, like, you looked at some guy's missus or whatever and he got offended by it, or vice versa, some missus looked at some fella and his girlfriend got offended by it. They don't care if the music's going or not, they're going to fight. And apparently if you stop playing the music, it kind of grabs their attention, and it gives the bouncers or bar staff an opportunity to clean it up and get it outside. So that's a little piece of advice. You can stop playing. If somebody's making a bit of a mistake in a song, never stop in the middle of a song. That's another stage behavior. I watched a band play downtown one night, and they were an original band, and they stopped their song 3 times in the intro because they didn't know how to play their own song. And they got a lot of flack for it from the crowd. People started booing them. Don't ever stop. Unless it's a big train wreck, and then you can try to make a joke out of it and request a do-over and continue on. But you don't stop, because that's kind of unprofessional as well. Once again, acknowledging the crowd. If somebody's having a good time and they're in for a stag or whatever, you might want to talk to them and ask them what their, when their wedding is, who's getting married. Everybody likes a little bit of attention, so that's a good one as well. Asking bar staff to bring you drinks while you're playing is another no-no. They're busy enough with the paying customers that are at the bar lined up 3 deep. They don't need to leave the bar and bring you a beer because you're a rock star, because they could care less. And that takes away from their work, and it annoys the hell out of them. Dealt with that, and had somebody actually request that it not be done anymore. I don't order drinks from the stage, but never order your drinks from the stage. If you got a buddy there who's right in front of you, ask him to grab you water, ask him to grab you a beer. Don't ask the bar staff to bring a drink to the stage. Once again, very unprofessional. So that's probably about it. Just don't curse, don't be offensive, don't pick on people. If somebody's giving you a hard time, ignore them, because eventually they will go away. If the bouncers catch it, they'll remove the person, hopefully. You don't want to start a fight yourself. You don't want that to be, I saw a band last night and the guitar player got off the stage and punched a guy, or the singer or the drummer or whatever. You don't want to get into that, because that'll follow you around too. Remember, it's a small province in general, but for most part it's a small city, and that shit gets around pretty quick. Introduce the band members. Talk about your band a little bit. Tell everybody who's playing what. Talk about your band's name. You don't have to mention it every song. You don't finish a song, hey, we're the whatever so-and-sos. But every once in a while, especially when you're leaving to go on break, you can mention your band's name, and when you come back, mention your band's name. The songs, you should talk about those instead of just saying we're going to do a Bryan Adams song now. Say what song it is. Try to work up a little bit of a story to it and make it fun. Get the crowd involved, get them up on the floor, because if you just say we're playing a Bryan Adams song, they're going to sit there and wait until they figure out which song it is, because you could be doing something that they don't want to hear. So you can introduce each song and let everybody know what's coming next. And sometimes they'll stay out on the floor for a second to see what you're going to do next. So if they already know, then they might even stay a little bit longer. So anyway, that's probably it for stage banter and antics. You just don't want to be offensive. You don't want to be drunk. You don't want to be swearing. You don't want to say things either like, "Hey, the more you drink, the better we sound." That actually is pretty. It's funny to the band, I guess, especially if you're having a bad night. But it's kind of corny and cheesy, and some people might take it as, well, they're not very good. We got to get drunk to like them, because you don't know what goes through people's heads. But yeah, that's it. That's just be courteous, be respectful. Take in all the lessons that your nan told you. Because Nan was in the band last week and wouldn't lug the PA, and you kicked her out, but she's still your Nan. So just use your manners. Be courteous to everybody. Be courteous with the staff at all times, including when you're on the stage. Don't act like a rock star. Don't break drinks. Don't spit on stage. I saw a guy do that one time at a friggin' I actually got asked to judge a talent show, and this guy goes up playing in a metal band and lugs up all this gear, like really excessive amount of equipment for 3 songs, and he's playing and he's getting ready to cut into this ripping solo, and he spits on the stage. And me and the other judges thought that was really gross. We were all people who played and have had years of experience playing, and we just we deducted overall. I don't know. We didn't really go on a point system because we just went over authenticity of the band. But that was a real downer for us to see that. Don't spit on your stage, because that's really gross. And you got other band members walking in that after, and if you're playing with other bands, they're walking in it. So if you're playing with another band too, support them. If they're coming up after you, mention their name and say, stick around, we've got so-and-so playing with us tonight. We had a dick open up for us one time, and I'm going to say open up because I don't want to give him the gratitude of saying he was a special guest. And he said he never, this next band I've never even heard of. I've never even heard of this guy. I had to look at the poster on the wall because I couldn't remember who they were and blah, blah, blah. And then the guy that was a 2-piece in the band with him had shoved a bunch of beer stoppers in our drummer's hi-hats, which was because they snuck beer in. They snuck their own beer in, and then they're up on stage insulting the band going on after. Anyway, nobody danced for this guy. Nobody gave a shit that he was there, and we rocked the club afterwards. So, screw you, asshole. And that's another thing. Be courteous to anybody else who's coming up behind you. So that's all the behaviors you really need. I'm out. I got to go mow a lawn now in a few minutes, or do some housework, more adulting. If you're around 9 o'clock and you're friends with Don Breton on Facebook, he's got the Saturday Night Cure. He takes requests. He knows a million songs. If he doesn't know it this week, he'll know it next week. And it's a great thing for getting your mind off what's going on in the world, because we've got a lot of stuff, not just COVID-19 going on right now, and a little bit of a distraction sometimes. And not that you need to be distracted from some of the things that are going on, some of the serious problems we have, but it's nice to take a couple hours and just refresh. And if any of your friends are doing a live feed where they're playing, support that as well. We're not getting paid to do it. It's just through enjoyment of playing right now and offering up something that we can do I'm not doing it, so I don't know I'm saying we. Tammy and I have posted a couple of videos, but it's just a matter of just giving something. We're all sitting on our thumbs, we're all musicians, and we all love to play. And if you can give back a little bit, and anybody who posts a video, it takes a lot of guts to do this stuff. I'm always nervous when I do these. So I can only imagine what it's like when I look at some of these Facebook friends doing the live feeds. It's got to be crazy because it's there forever when you're doing it. So check in, say hello to Don, and I'm going to request some more Zac Brown band for him tonight, and he better play it. I won't know because I'm not going to be home tonight. I'm gonna have to miss this one, buddy. We're actually getting out of the house for the first time. Well, we got out last night, but we're getting out to do something a little more so publicly social, and social distanced and careful. But I'll catch you next week. But dedicate me some Zach Brown. Anyway, guys, take care. Enjoy this weird looking Saturday, and I gotta go find some work to do. Cheers.